Hi, Garmlings. With Vitality winning the Austin Major, the first half of the 2025 season, or are the years seasons, or does the season end when the major ends? Guys, smash subscribe if you know the answer. It was a slightly boring season for people who like to see more than one team win tournaments, but I would say it's one worth talking about nonetheless. And it all started right after Spirit won the Shanghai Major. Due to the new structure of majors being at the end of seasons, we would have a huge Rostermania directly after this. And looking back, some of these moves were generational, while others were just awful. Let's run through them all real quick. Yakinder benched on Team Liquid, he'd be replaced by Nerds. On paper, this move was elite. Norbert and Jane benched on VP and they were replaced by Icy and Flamus. Captain Kurtka benched on Bait by Ken Scissor. Ken, fuck off. Searson and Regan benched on Big, replaced by Hyped and Kyubi. Alistair benched on FlyQuest, replaced by Regali. Body and Knock benched on Fnatic, thank God, and replaced by Fear and Burmy Love. At the time, Burmy was kind of just a placeholder until he was eventually replaced by Jambo. Rops left FaZe for Vitality and Spinks would be benched. Craziest part of all this, there was no buyout. Rops just left FaZe in free agency and joined the team for free. Elige would then go on to replace Rops on FaZe. Floppy would be benched on Complexity, and the replacements for Floppy and Elige would be Sixy and Nick X. Nico would leave G2 and join Falcons along with the heroic core of Kixin, Tesses, and Dexter. And to replace Nico would be Heavy God, and Malbs would take most of Nico's roles. Gamer Legion, after selling Flamus, benched Volt, and the replacements would be PR and Rez. Shush would leave Heroic and join the new NIP project with Snappy, Erasdose, U-Jerks, and Wrinkle was already left over. Heroic would sign the Sangal core of Xfloud, LNZ, and Youngster, and then add Sun Pius and Tanir. They would also have Nilo and Madden as substitutes. Axile and Boomich left C9 to join Betboom. Nafany and Chiron would be benched, and C9 would completely collapse. And Perfecto would stay in jail. David Duaz would join Pain for Lux, and Jada would join EF with Calyx being benched. The first tournament we get to see these new rosters in was Blast Bounty 2025. It was an incredibly strange tournament format with bounties and other stuff that's not really relevant. And this was the only tournament Vitality didn't win all year. Along with this, they were beaten by Major and EF, who they would not play again the entire season. I wonder why. Stop dodging Major, you pussies. What did we learn from this tournament? The reigning Major champs were still the best team in the world. Donk was the highest rated player with a 1.43, along with winning MVP. It looked like Na'Vi might potentially be back as they would make semis, and played an incredibly close series against Spirit where they went into like 8 overtimes on Ancient Map 2. Along with this, it looked like G2 would be absolutely atrocious without Nico. They played terrible against Bait in their first game, but they did improve throughout the tournament, making it all the way to the semis and barely losing out to EF. And even though EF lost in the finals, it looked like the new addition of Jodo would actually get the team over the hump. So along with that, Na'Vi potentially being back, Spirit still being the best, and maybe G2 weren't awful. New roster Betboom also looked fairly strong. Now, I didn't add, the entire group stage of this was all online, so you know. But listen, Betboom looked good in the online games. They even beat Mouse. Speaking of which, after this tournament, Mouse would kick their IGL Suhei, one of the most mind-blowing moves in modern Counter-Strike history. And to replace him would be Spinks from Vitality. Nearly everyone, me included, was absolutely flabbergasted and extremely pessimistic about how this Mouse core would do moving forward. And you can't forget the whole Imperial Valkyries arc, the first female team to ever play at a tier 1 LAN. And honestly, they didn't even look that bad. They looked fairly strong against Na'Vi to start, impressing quite a few people, but they were knocked out 0-2. The next tournament would be IEM Katowice 2025. It was the most prestigious event of the year so far, and teams had more times to actually mesh their new rosters. So this would be like the real showing, while Blast Rivals was kind of just practice, I'd say. For starters, Mouse's new team was not completed yet, so they had a stand-in from their academy team. Along with it being Brolin's first event as an IGL, it did not go well, and they came in last place, as you would expect. Not really much to take away there. But what you might have not expected is who tied them in last place: Falcons. I mean, the jokes write themselves. Now, this time they lost to EF again, and eventually got knocked out by G2. The team Nico just left. But before you start singing G2's praises, that's where the good news ends for them. It kind of looked like they took a step back after that other tournament. I mean, that series against Falcons was the only one they won, as they lost to VP and honestly terrible looking FaZe. Liquid are kind of in the same boat as Falcons, where they played at Blast Bounty but lost in the online portion. They only beat Mouse with a stand-in here, but Nerds did try his dick off. Unfortunately for him, this was during Ultimate Slump period, and we still had Twist IGL. IEML, who got absolutely laid into by Zeus on the Thorin and Maui podcast. A couple things he said. Twist was the one who vetoed Elish returning to Liquid. Liquid attempted to buy Donk. Apparently, it was when Donk was still in Spirit Academy. Twist kicked Cadian and Zeus. So we gotta take all this with a grain of salt, because Zeus might be a little salty from this still. He considered kicking Naf as well. Twist took Rops and Kerrigan to an NBA game on Liquid company money. Zeus then implied that Twist's wife might have been behind some of these moves. Liquid were gonna sign Breeze and Cirque from EG in 2024. Ugh. And then Zeus kicked Elish from Liquid at one point, but came back after a month because they couldn't find a replacement. Now, listen, guys, we gotta take all of this with a grain of salt, okay? I would say the biggest thing about this entire podcast was mostly just Zeus talking about Twist's character, how he didn't think he had it in him to be a leader. And while a lot of these accusations might be exaggerated or just plain false, when watching the games, it seemed that Zeus was at least right. That Twist was not fit to be an IGL because it looked bad. Moving on, Astralis were not in this tournament for very long. The Cadian experiment was looking awfully. They got dicked in 2 games by Spirit and Gamer Legion. Yikes. We also had a generational nuke match between EF and FaZe that went to the a billion playoffs. A billion overtimes is what Garmer meant to say. And the 6 playoff teams were Mongols, EF, VP, Spirit, Vitality, and Na'Vi. Now the first round was kind of scuffed because Spirit annihilated VP, but they needed to use Mir as a stand-in. Flamus had visa issues. Mongols and EF also played, and they had a cinema map too, but Mongols would end up winning 2-0. But then Vitality would comfortably sweep Mongols and kind of easily make the finals. They were looking incredibly comfortable this tournament, significantly better than they looked at Blast Bounty. And then Na'Vi once again couldn't beat Spirit, but I mean, it was fairly close. And then in the final, I mean, it was just, it was bad. Vitality completely blows out Spirit in the final 3-0. And I think at this point, it became incredibly clear that Vitality was not to be fucked with this season. Right after this final, I think it was during the final, I made the comparison of Vitality adding Rops to Astralis adding Magisk. Will the move be that good? Honestly, I don't know if it'll be that good, but I mean, it looks damn close. We still need more time to decide. It is a little bit of an over-exaggeration. They've had one good half of a year and won a major, which like is impressive. We're not to Astralis era yet, but it does look promising. And then, of course, at the end, Zywoo won MVP with a 1.42 rating. I'd say the main takeaways, Vitality's cracked. Na'Vi looks strong, but really aren't to the level of these other elite teams. And Spirit and Vitality are kind of fighting for the top 2 spots in the world right now. Cluj. Listen, man, all season, I loved these PGL events. I thought they were sick because we didn't know who was going to win them most of the time. And I think that's cool, man. I don't like knowing Vitality's going to win a tournament before it starts. But this event was great because it kind of was a defining moment for the rest of the season. How, you might ask? Well, EF and Mongols, 2 of the favorites to win the events, easily made playoffs, to then immediately lose. The 2 finalists of this event would be Mouse with Spinks and Falcons, the 2 teams who would go to nip at Vitality's heels all season. Now, Mouse would go on to win, but we did get an incredibly rare loss finals MVP. The MVP was Nico, even though they lost 2-3. Oh, it's 3-1. Sorry. It wasn't even that close. How did he win MVP losing 3-1? Anyways, a couple other fun storylines. We had a Saw Miracle dead team run. Before this event, SHR and Roman were rumored to be getting removed. Actually, I don't even think it was a rumor. I think it was just confirmed. They were told they were getting removed before this event. And I mean, it looked like a bad dead team that would start off 0-2. And then somehow they won 3 in a row to make playoffs, where they sadly got stomped by FaZe, but it was a legendary run until then. Astralis also had a miracle run where they finished in 3rd place somehow. This was after they looked complete dog shit the entire season, and even before in late 2024. MIBR were also here, but they went 1-3 and then immediately made a roster change. They would bench drop and re-add BRNizin to the roster. Burnzin. I can't pronounce these fucking Brazilian names, man. Moving on to the next tournament, ESL Pro League Season 21. This tournament was really just more the same, honestly. Mouse proved that Cluj was not a fluke. They were here to play, and they would make finals, but they would lose to Vitality 0-3, who were now pulling away to be easily the best team in the world. It wasn't really close. Oh yeah, by the way, Vitality also have not lost a single series in the past 2 events. I wonder how long this will last. And of course, with this Vitality wins, I would get another MVP. He's just farming these fuckers at this point. Although his 1.43 wasn't the highest at the event, that was Donk with a 1.44. Other playoff teams were Liquid, who just squeaked through 3-2. Their first playoffs with the new roster. Sadly for them, they played Vitality in the first game, so GG. There was also Na'Vi and Mongols, who both had a lot to prove. Na'Vi were trying to get over the hurdle of being a decent team, but not good enough to really win playoff series. We also had this clip from Alexi and Ema.
Oh, God. Alexi, let me go connect next time if I have first one. I was very close to it.
Let's go. Fucking play one round without saying something after.
No,
really.
bro, what? It's good. Bro, it's fine. Just chill out.
Good.
The vibes in the team are just atrocious. And while Mongols consistently look good enough to win playoff games, but always just seem to fall short, these two teams would get matched up in round 1, and with someone having to win, Mongols would take it home. There was then G2, who maybe looked to be back, except they beat Pain, Saw, and Gamer Legion to make playoffs, so were they really that back? Honestly, it did kind of seem so, because they played Mouse in the first series and barely lost in an incredibly close 3-map series. And then the last 2 playoff teams were EF and Spirit. EF would once again lose immediately in the playoffs like they had been doing all season up to this point.
They gave you a run for your money. What can you tell me?
Anubis shit map. Delete from CS, please.
But at least they can make them, I guess. Then Spirit played Mouse in the semis, where they lost. It kind of looked like the former major winners were getting passed up by Mouse and Spirit now. And some other cool storylines for this event. Saw with Cjot and Azuwu actually looked decent. Cjot completely bent over M80 on a Dust 2. Tai Lu surprised by beating 3D Max and EF, then making it out of stage 1 3-2. We had this insane Jam Young Deagle clip.
2015 or 16, so it's been like, oof.
And we also had the new greatest Counter-Strike player of all time, G.
Does it hurt you to win? Oh, G. Oi! Brother! 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 Brother!
Fucking animal, I love this guy. Oh yeah, and Falcons just missed out on playoffs 2-3. It kind of looked like they were still a roster move or 2 away from really being elite. And during this event, FlyQuest would bench Dexter, their IGL, pick up Netic, who is a young, very good rifling talent, and make Ins the IGL. Then over on the other hemisphere, on this side of this, Australia's here. South America's here. So Pain would bench Cowas for DGT. Yeah, that seems good to me, yeah. Blast Open Lisbon, another Blast event. Who's excited? You won't believe what happened this event. Na'Vi and EF made playoffs. They both immediately lost. G2 made it, immediately lost to Mouse. Spirit made semis and lost. Then Vitality and Mouse played in the finals, where Vitality won. Where have I seen this before? Only really other thing of note was there was concern for Mongols. They actually missed out on playoffs. Yeah, it's probably just a one-off event. They'll be fine. Oh yeah, and do you guys even remember that Rostermania move where Elise joined FaZe? I don't either, because they haven't done jack shit all year. I mean, what are they doing? They wouldn't do anything here either. But we did have this dope-ass Deagle clip from Huns, specifically 9.
The 23 and counting before the 9D connects! Oh, it connects right! What? How's he done that? Masterful from the 9D!
Random Asian teams don't hit the greatest Deagle clip I have ever seen challenge. Another Zywoo MVP where he wasn't the highest rated player. Instead, it was Donk. Interesting. Is Zywoo farming cupcake MVPs? And during this tournament, Jacob was exposed for scamming fans and I guess just other people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of skins because of a gambling addiction. Speaking of gambling addiction, that would have been a good place to put a sponsor. PGL Bucharest. Oh, another PGL event. Give it up. I love these guys. Maybe without Vitality, this event will actually be entertaining. Oh yeah, also right before this event, we had a mini Rostermania for some reason. This shit was genuinely insane. 2 days before this, Liquid added Suhei for JKS. No more Twist IGL. Thank God. Monacy to Falcons. Kind of a bombshell considering there was rumors about him joining a while ago and then they were all disproven. And the organization Aurora bought out the EF team. This is where Pain would start their run of endless stand-ins plus coach standing in. They just could not field their full 5 for like this entire season damn near. It seemed that Mongols had simply fallen off a cliff, as after their last tournament, they would go 0-2 here, and then miss the playoffs going 2-3. They'd have to have a crazy turnaround to do anything remarkable this year, such as making a major final. We also had a generational run from Apogee, I think I pronounced that right. Random Polish 5-stack. Playoff teams consisted of Falcons, Gamer Legion, 3D Max, FaZe, Aurora, G2, VP, and the biggest surprise of all, Complexity. But yeah, no, Complexity looked poop since adding Suxi and Nick X, but absolutely locked in during this tournament. And they would even beat Aurora in the first round of the playoffs, where but they would sadly lose to G2 in semis, who would go on to make the finals and play Falcons. I mean, guys, can we be a little more discreet with the script here? What? But then strangely in this final, after looking good all tournament, m0NESY would throw and look terrible against Falcons, the team he's joining. Then in between Bucharest and Melbourne, we had the major MRQs, where a couple things of note happened. Astralis would miss. Their 5th consecutive major now. Yikes, that's not good, man. This org's gonna go bankrupt. I don't know how they have any money. You know, it was a generational loss to Bait. Map 3 went into, I think it was double OT. Oh, no, it was just single OT. Oh, yeah, dude, it was like an absolutely sick 1v3 by Alex.
Not for the second. They were all bunched up there in a temple. Now Alex holds the center of the bomb site. Waits back. Here's him coming. Headshot getting the first man. This will be a magical 1v3 clutch. He's got it down to one man. Stare. Oh, he loses it. It is a 3K for Alex. 666.
Legendary stuff. It was so sick. In the NA, MRQ, NRG made the major, which means Bro made the major and Astralis didn't. I mean, the universe it's so kind, man. It's so giving. Oh, yeah, and Gamer Legion also missed the major. That shit was tragic. Melbourne, yeah, does anything different happen here? Not from a Bucharest win and a generational op upgrade. Falcons easily make the playoffs. Then the finals, and we get one of the most tragic finals collapses I've ever seen. I mean, considering the streak Vitality was on, considering this team is in the honeymoon phase, they spent $1 jillion. They're supposed to be so good. These boys are up 12-6 on Nuke map 5. It's been a great final so far, and they just crumble. They just can't finish it out. It's just unbelievable, and they lose. They lose the finals. Couple other things to note here. There wasn't really that much besides, honestly, that finals and Falcons m0NESY to talk about. Mouse is still good, but might be worse than Falcons now. Falcons kind of creamed them in the semifinals. Mongols are back to form. They would make playoffs where they would beat Liquid, who also looked good with the new Suhei edition, and they actually had practice time. But yeah, man, I mostly just fuck-ass Vitality. Blast rivals. Blast don't have a goofy-ass tournament format. Challenge. Impossible edition. Literally, this tournament format was the 4 best teams in the world, and just 4 teams, just 4 random teams from different regions that were not nearly as good as the top 4. Out of these 8 total teams, 6 made the playoffs, and you wouldn't believe it, the first round was blowouts because 2 of the top 4 teams were playing 2 teams that were not nearly as good as them. Falcons would beat Mouse once again in the semis to assert their dominance over them. Falcon beats Mouse. That makes sense logistically, organically, naturally. That makes sense. But they would get daddied once again by Vitality 2-3 in the finals. PGL Astana. I love PGL. I love you, PGL. No Vitality. This will be an entertaining event, except for one small issue. Due to them being passed up by 3 teams and needing a bit of a confidence booster, Spirit has come to annihilate everyone. LeBron James versus you and me type shit. But yeah, no, they'd go on to win this event easily. I don't know what anyone really expected, but we still had some cool storylines. Gamer Legion went from the playoffs in Melbourne to 0-3 here against worse teams. At this point, you know, with their MRQ failure, their failure here, but also making playoffs of Tier 1 events, they just gotta work on their consistency. They might be the most inconsistent team in all of Tier 1. Pain still have their coach standing in for half of these games. When their 5 did play, it didn't look good. But they really haven't had that much practice, so we give them more time. G2 now have Hades on the roster instead of m0NESY. They also have their coach Taz standing in for Hunter, who had visa issues. And somehow this goofy-ass team barely missed playoffs 2-3. I don't know how. Actually, I do know how. We can thank Malbs and Heavy God. We get to see the new NIP roster against real teams, finally. They've been trapped in Tier 2 hell literally all year, and they actually look fairly good. Making playoffs and eventually losing to Spirit, you can't hate on that. Only positives in my eyes. And we also learned that Shush and Wrinkle are fucking goated. Oh yeah, and you know Furia? That mid-Brazilian team that hasn't done anything all year. Well, they look good now, and it's because they removed the Brazilians. Well, 2 of them, and they added Europeans. Listen, NA can't win without him either, guys, so I get it. But Cello and Skulls have been replaced for Yakinder and Molodoi. You heard that right. Yakinder. 2025 Yakinder. But it gets even crazier because this fucker Fallen actually revived him. He looks good. Oh yeah, also Fallen at his ripe old age decided he had enough of the AWP. He was now going to be a rifling IGL, and he would give away the AWP to one of the most exciting tier 2 prospects in all of Europe, Molodoy. They would go on to make semis and lose to Spirit 1-2. Where actually, like, the entire series was fairly close. Nothing but positive takeaways similar to NIP. Oh yeah, and Astralis have Hooksy now as a stand-in instead of Cadian. And my god, was it a generationally good move. Because this Astralis team that's been cursed for a hot minute now actually made the finals of an event. They look good. Now, they would end up losing to Spirit, but this run was enough to eventually get Hooksy signed to the team a few months later. IEM Dallas. We were going to see Perfecto play on BC game this tournament until visa issues sadly stopped this from happening. Vitality would have to play this tier 2 team Legacy in the first round, and they easily sweep them. I'm sure the boys will not take this personally. Heroic is here, and they beat FaZe, stay alive in the lower bracket. A FaZe with Simple on the roster, by the way. This is huge, considering Simple has not played on a real team in like 2 years. And let me tell you what, the streets move for Simple, man. The viewership on the games he was playing was like astronomical compared to every single other game this tournament. They also had to use Skulls as a stand-in because Rain decided to have a kid during IEM Dallas. Think about your teammates, bro. What are you thinking having a kid during this time? But yeah, main takeaway, Simple kind of looked mad, but Rust was expected. Furia looked worse, but they literally had no days off between this and Astana. But then again, neither did Aurora, who once again made playoffs to immediately lose. I don't know how they keep doing it. Along with Aurora, Mongols, Gamer Legion, who are back to being good, this time with a stand-in, by the way. Falcons, Mouse, and Vitality all make playoffs. But this time, Falcons and Vitality meet in the semis, where Falcons barely lose 1-2. It was so close. Like, they just get so close every time, but Vitality just is a little better. They just have a little more juice. So this means the third best team in the world, Mouse, would meet Vitality in the finals, and you wouldn't believe it, Vitality easily wins 3-0. Their win streak is now up to 30. Zywoo, another MVP, but Monesi was the highest rated player at the event with a 1.29. Ah, yes. The classic Counter-Strike Major to end the season. There's no better way to do it. Easily the biggest event thus far. The biggest storyline going into this was, of course, would Vitality finish off their incredible season with a major W? And would they still have their win streak? Well, we would get an answer incredibly quickly. Because in their first game, they would play Legacy. You remember those guys who Vitality creamed just an event ago? He fucking annihilated them on Inferno. I couldn't believe it. The win streak would end at 30. But it is Vitality, so they'd still make it through 3-1. It wasn't even a question that they would miss. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This tournament was incredibly long, so let's go back to stage 1. Complexity had to play this event without one of their best players, Halzerk, due to visa issues, and instead had NA Tier 2 Demon Jr. This did not work out particularly well because they went 1-3. Wildcard also choked after starting 2-0. They would get knocked out 2-3, along with NRG, who got knocked out 2-3. Not a great time to be an NA fan, but we got M80 and Liquid still. Maybe they'll be able to do something. But yeah, the team that would go on to upset Wildcard in that 2-2 game was Legacy, who shouldn't even be here, by the way. They didn't qualify. Bestia qualified for this event, but they had visa issues and sadly couldn't attend. So Legacy would take full advantage of this and go on a tear. OG also impressed as Nico Dawes would literally break the record for the highest rated map at a major. And Heroic looked just as dominant as everyone thought they would, easily going 3-0. But along with them, Bait also went 3-0, which maybe was kinda surprising, but they were super dominant in Tier 2 before this, so maybe not that crazy. And we also had Tai Lu and Lin Vision qualified through this stage. This was just turning into China's major. They were making up for Shanghai. The biggest storylines from stage 2 is Legacy would continue to fry going 3-0. Along with them, VP went 3-0. FaZe was here with Simple and Rain this time, and they would cook Heroic in game 1 to get their revenge. The vibes on this team were astronomical. They were so good. After this, they kind of fell off a little bit. They barely squeaked through 3-2. And Simple still looked slightly rusty, but he did drop a 1.08 during this stage. Along with this, Furia looked phenomenal making it through, and so did Pain going through 3-1. It's like they finally got to practice with their full 5. It's insane how that stuff works. Another few surprises were Lin Vision and Namiga both made it through, especially Namiga considering they upset Heroic in the 2-2 game. Oh yeah, and that team that's been fighting Vitality all year for trophies, they bomb out of the stage 1-3. It was one of the worst choke games against MIBR I have ever seen. 5v3 Inferno, B-site post plant. Those who know. And also M80 stink. NA is in shambles. Stage 3, we have Liquid, baby. Suhei, Naf, Twist. We got 2 Canadians, NA players. It's an NA major. They go 0-3. In their 0-2 game, they have to play Mouse. How did this happen? How are these teams 0-2? The only hope now is FaZe with the Liege, who actually do look crack this stage and go through 3-1. Our boy Simple is back. He has arrived as he drops a 1.35 in this stage. Aurora, after making playoffs literally all year, crumble when it matters most. Honestly, not that surprising. They bum out 1-3. Legacy sadly have to play Mouse in their 2-2 game. The worst possible draw. But it was a great run, boys. You tried your best. G2 look meh. They go 2-3. And the full playoff teams for this major are Spirit, Furia, Vitality, FaZe, Na'Vi, Mongols, Mouse, who made a comeback down from 0-2 to 3-2, and then boys that finally got some practice reps in, Pain. Pain, after having issues literally all season, end up locking in and beating Furia in the quarters. An insanely good and close match. They had to come back on map 3 Inferno. Spirit Mouse is easily the best match of the entire playoffs. Map 1 was elite. Zontex played out of his mind, but Mouse do end up winning. FaZe Mongols is heartbreaking for NACS fans. This was the whole arena's team, and it was a close 2 maps, but they just fell short. Simple was in classic Simple major choke mode. If you know, you know. This dude looked like a recovering heroin addict, the way he was flicking around and jittering. It was brutal to watch. Vitality Na'Vi was close, but of course Vitality wins. And this is most likely the last time we see this full Na'Vi lineup, as they were rumored to make changes in the offseason even before this major started, I think. I'm sure their best player of 2024 will not get benched. Somehow Pain Gaming is now in the semifinals of a major after looking poo-poo caca all year, and they're playing the Mongols, who will lose to Vitality in the final challenge. It looks like Mongols are the ones to step up to the plate. Mouse take Vitality to a third, but oh boy, Vitality wins in convincing fashion. And the finals are exciting for one map, and then Vitality sweep in the last 2. They had entertaining storylines this season. The current Rostermania, I'll probably make another video about that separately. It's been good so far. Not as crazy as the last one, but still very good. And I guess I'll close this out with just a few words. Fuck you, Apex.